Okay, I'd like to begin the Audit Committee meeting for the month of June. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we don't have any public comments. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Audit Committee work plan hasn't changed. No motion necessary. Okay. First thing is Len. Report on the Business Service Center.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a quick update on a couple of things. We've finished our fact gathering sessions where we're gathering all the facts about the agencies to discover any new needs or the needs of the agencies. It went really well. We worked with 270 subject matter experts throughout the month, gathered all the information. We are now verifying the data with them again to make sure we gather everything we need to know before we proceed. We've held what we call these pilot room conferences. We showed them sections of the system. So we're going back answering any questions. We hope to finish this in the month of June through the middle of July. So we're right on schedule with our plans to go forward. Then once we verify we have all the data and everyone is satisfied that we've covered all the needs of the agencies, we will then start design and then go into actual programming. So right now we're right on schedule as we expect it to be. As far as controls, we're working very closely with Mike and his staff. They are reviewing the different flows of the processes and the systems to make sure that we are accounting for all internal controls needed throughout the process, and we are meeting with outside auditors as well to get their blessings and their review of it as well. We want to make sure we're doing this right, and not after we do it we have to make changes. So we have a meeting, I believe, July 7th with our outside auditors as well as Mike's people, so we make sure we are including all necessary controls. I'm also meeting with the chief financial officers, getting their concerns, their opinions, and how that works as well. So this is not being done in any kind of silo fashion. Everyone's input is being added into the mix as we go. We are wrapping up what we call our fit gap analysis. We are trying to match PeopleSoft vanilla to the needs of the company. It's very important to stay vanilla. We will modify where we have no choice, but we're hoping those are the few, not the many, and it looks that way. And we will stay vanilla, and that's important when we do our upgrades. And the next upgrade is expected in 2013 based on PeopleSoft's requirements, and at that point we don't want a system that's so non-vanilla we can't do the upgrade and spend a ton of money. So that's our philosophies, and it's worked in other implementations I've put in before. So we're going through that process as well. System design starts in August. And in addition, we're working very closely. We meet once a week with the BSC Council, which is made up of vice presidents from all the agencies, to work on a workforce transition plan. How our forces will transition from their agencies to the BSC. And we're working on that. We hope to have that done in August, September for the president's reviews with suggestions of how to do it at the BSC as well as their own agencies. And that's going well. We meet once a week. Mike comes as well from an auditing perspective and from his opinions as well. So we're doing that as well. But all in all, we're on schedule. I presented a little chart to the working committee, which basically shows that same thing. And you can see it's we're right where we're supposed to be. This line says where we are and what we've done already. So things are going well. From different perspectives of looking at new businesses, we are continuing to study some different procurements, AR, capital accounting, and internal controls. The presidents are going to be reviewing that, and we're going to get back to the working committee hopefully in a few weeks or so. Helena is involved as well. We want to see the best way to recommend putting, if we should put those in, and if we do, how do we do that? So that's also going very well. We're still putting together a labor relations strategy with our labor relations directors, and we're working on that. Staffing, now that the freeze is over, we are resuming to go forward and hire the rest of the BSC implementation team. We're about 50% already there, where we will be looking to get the other 53 people between now and as soon as possible. Mike has loaned me 8 auditors. Thank you, Mike, and they're helping us until I get more staff in place. They're in QA and all over the company, and they're also doing the BSC procurement review panel. The 2 of them are doing great there until I get some staff in there for procurement. As far as real estate, we need to find our next location. We have a real nice location for implementation, but we're only 16 months away from implementation of the system and the company. So we're now looking with MTA Real Estate for additional real estate, or this real estate within the MTA family where we can open up the business. So we're working on that as well. But other than that, we're right on schedule, and we're working well with the other agencies. They are really working hard, the other agencies with us. And if you ever get a chance to come to BSC, you'll see everyone there is really moving and stepping.
Len, are you talking about moving from where you are now to new place, or expanding where you are now?
Well, that's what we're looking for. We're not sure yet. We need a permanent resident that's going to hold more than 100 or so I have now with the consulting staff that will wean off. When we open the doors, we're going to need space for about 400 staff. Yeah, well, we're pulling people out of the agencies, and then we're downsizing from there. Right now, the space I have only holds 280 seats. So the MTA has hired a broker to look and see what's the best way to do this until some real estate opens at the MTA level that's ready for us. But we don't want to delay this at all, but not having enough seats to do the functions. So we are working with them very closely, and we've made some progress.
And we do have, this place is a very, very good rent.
The place we're at now is way below market because of the conditions. It was made perfectly for us. We had to do nothing when we moved in. There was very little build out. We didn't have to buy any furniture. We had to buy 4 offices of furniture. All the furniture came with it. And again, it's the economy. And it was built exactly like we needed it. It's very open, so we can work together. The offices surround it for the senior staff so that you have like a bullpen atmosphere, and it's up and running. We had to do no work on our, except for one switch on our network. We actually got the network up and running in a week because all the cabling was in place. Cat 6 state-of-the-art cabling came with it. So we had to do basically nothing to the building, to it. This is 3 World Financed, and there's just so many buildings there that are empty. And our real estate department did a great job in really negotiating, and we're very pleased with the rent, and we saved a lot of money with build out and furniture. We didn't have to buy any furniture for that move.
Good. Any questions for Len?
Okay.
Thanks, Len. Okay. First quarter 2009, independent auditor report. Glenn and Dave. Geez, Dave, 2 years went by quick. Dave was here.
Yeah, to be all. You have him for another 5. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have our quarterly update of our financial situation for the first quarter.
We have completed our review of the financial statements for Dave's quarter. Thank you. How quickly I forget. We've completed our review of the financial statements for the MTA for the first quarter ended March 31. As you know, a review is not an audit. A review consists principally of reading the financial statements, having some discussions with management concerning the financial statements and operational matters and financial matters to understand if there's any changes that have occurred during the quarter, and then the performance of some analytical procedures related to the financial statements. We've completed those. There's nothing that has come to our attention during our performance of those procedures that would conclude that amounts in the financial statements should be changed, or that the disclosures in the financial statements are appropriate. The financial statements, based upon these reviews, appear to be presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
I mentioned this. I mentioned this earlier, and I don't have them with me, but at some point I'd love to sit down with you and talk about the way some items are discussed in the notes.
We'd heard your comment, and we looked at that, and I understand a lot of it, I think, is in the MD&A, because it's somewhat related to the process that the organization uses to put together the financial statements. But your comment's appropriate, and we'd love to sit down with you and address that.
One of the things that I noticed was in the supplementary information. I looked at the financial plan, and next to it, the financial statement, as you people reviewed, and the deficit that was projected in the financial plan, as opposed to what came through as the actual, was about $12.5 million on a $1.6 billion deficit. So our plan was pretty close.
It's not too bad. I mean, the first quarter, it's not a lot you can tell. You wouldn't expect it to. By the way, if it was exactly on plan, you might be bothered, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But $12.5 million difference is not too much.
And they're usually in the timing differences as well in the first quarter. They seem to catch up in the second. Then we got to watch the third and the fourth where things happen. That's usually the case when we combine it on a case basis.
Which set of books was he looking at?
We only have one set of books as far as I understand.
The one that we've always had.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, were you going to talk about agreed upon principles too? Is that all part of this, or?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's, all this is we have to vote on the acceptance of these 3
Gotcha.
months. We're going to get, okay, so I need a motion to accept the report so we can put it on the. Second, all in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, now we have the MTA Investment Compliance Report.
Same two people. Same name.
Okay.
In your booklet, there is our independent auditor's report on the investment compliance. Rather than reiterate the whole report, based upon the audit of the consolidated financial statements of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority as of and for the year ended December 31st, 2008, we noted no instances of non-compliance with the authority's investment guidelines, the New York State Comptroller's investment guidelines, and Section 2925 of the Public Authorities Law. However, our audit was not directed primarily toward obtaining knowledge of non-compliance with such investments. And that is our report on the investments for the year ended December 31st, 2008.
Yeah, this is one of those reports that as a public authority we have to send
That's
to
correct.
Albany.
That's correct.
All those reports that they never get from us.
And it's already been submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. The next one is agreed upon procedures review from the Inspector General's office.
Again, within the book, starting on page 15 through 17, respectively, is our agreed-upon procedures as it relates to those procedures that were determined by the Auditor General and the Inspector General of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. Within here, you have our findings, and the only exceptions that we had within the report are items 7, 11, and 12, respectively. Otherwise, there was no exceptions. Specifically, item number 7, there was an issue whereby the reconciliation did not agree to the MTA. There was a disconnect. One bank reconciliation did not agree to the others. As it relates to item number 11, there was an exception due to the fact that the MTA fully depreciated assets, so there was a disconnect there. And then lastly, item number 12, there was a couple items that we did not reconcile to the MTA's monthly expense report for the month of December 2008. And all these procedures were dictated to us by the Auditor General and the Inspector General, so we followed the procedures that we were told. And as I said earlier, the 3 exceptions have been noted. All the other procedures we did without exception.
Okay.
In 7, what was the difference that it did not agree to?
There was, from what I remember, there was an overdraft of cash whereby the Inspector General, if I'm recollecting correctly, had the overdraft shown on their books, a cash overdraft, and the MTA did not. They were showing a 0 balance. It wasn't material to the MTA's financial statements, but nonetheless, when you look to do the procedures, that was, in essence, the disagreement, if you would, or the exception. You're welcome.
Any other questions in regards to that? Okay, thank you.
I'm still here.
Management letter. Stay right where you
I
are.
was going to say, I'm not. Rather than go through all of the management letter comments because they've been previously distributed, there was a couple overarching comments, if you would, and most of them were IT related, and they were really suggestions as it concerns passwords and updating passwords. The passwords weren't being reset on what we deem to be kind of best practices or blue ribbon practices. We met with the CIOs at the various entities. We received their responses to us. Most of the comments have been addressed already. All of the prior year comments were addressed. We're comfortable with their responses. And then as it relates to the non-IT issues, there was a couple comments whereby there was reconciling items that hadn't been addressed at the year-end audit. We brought to the attention of management. They were addressed as the audit was being performed. So on a go-forward basis, there is a plan in place which management will adhere to make certain it doesn't happen on a go-forward basis. Otherwise, we're comfortable with management's responses, and I believe there's 2 that are still pending on the MTA that are being worked on by management diligently, and all the others, as I noted earlier, were addressed, and there's nothing that is hanging out there from prior years.
I think you might remember, I think last year we asked that all of the recommendations that you people make, along with any recommendations that the Inspector General makes on any of his, are followed up. They don't get lost. And so we are doing that so that anything that falls behind by more than 6 months will come back to this committee with a reason why it hasn't been taken care of.
We have that in our work plan, and we're going to report to the committee in July when I give my report on that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, is the problem of not resetting the passwords that security could be compromised? Is that the?
It's not an issue concerning compromise of security. It's best practices. They were resetting some of them 90, 120 days, where if you look at industry standard, some would say it's 30 to 60. So it's best practices. The controls are there. The systems are in place. We were just, in essence, recommending better practices based upon what we're seeing in the field itself. So it's not that the controls were being compromised in any sense of the word, because none of these were what we would consider a significant deficiency or a material weakness.
Any other questions regarding the management letter? No? Okay, I think this time you're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we need Price Waterhouse.
Mike's not here. Ken is here. Let them introduce themselves. Let them introduce themselves so they know who they are.
Okay, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Jim Finelli. I'm the IT Audit Senior Manager.
Okay.
I am Thibaut Boisselier, and I'm the Audit Manager on the engagement.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We were going to discuss our management letter comments. As previously reported to the committee, we considered internal controls in the conduct of our external audit, the New York City Transit Authority. We reported in April that we had no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. We still have the same viewpoint in terms of our management letter comments. We have, again, in regards to the 5 items, no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies to report at this time. As you can see in the materials, we had 5 observations, 4 of which were related to information technology, 1 of which was related to employee benefits. In all cases, management has developed a plan to address these or have addressed the findings already in relation to our work. So we're comfortable that these items are being addressed and that there is some effort behind, from the management perspective, to close these out. If there's any detailed questions, either Thibault or myself are happy to answer those in relation to the observations.
And we're not kicking any cans down the road. I mean, we're not revisiting issues that have, in prior years, management concurred with and then didn't meet benchmarks. Is there any of that going on?
The IT items actually had been previously mentioned in the prior year, but at the same time, the project plan to address those was a multi-year project plan, so nothing new came up this year in relation to the IT findings, and the employee benefit piece was a new observation for 2008. So,
Just one question on our page 69, on your page 2, target dates. Phase 2 was implemented, Phase 3 was implemented, Phase 4 deployed to remaining financially significant applications, 4th quarter 2010. My question is, why so long? I mean, that's a year and a half away.
We installed a brand new system to meet this requirement, and it's just taking us that long to get it in. What we're doing is we put the new system in, we've trained the employees, now we're taking application by application and bringing them over. Transit's got a lot of applications that we have to bring over.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, they do the pensions and whatnot. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. I think that's it. I think we need a motion to adjourn. I like that. It's better than the Finance Committee.
It's not part of course.
Not as bad as Finance.
Move to adjourn.
Anybody against?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, as always. Go on upstairs.
Oh, absolutely.